Lockheed Martin can build the airframe. Raytheon can build the radar. But no defense contractor on Earth can manufacture the pulse of the pilot sitting in the cockpit. That pulse is the one variable physics cannot quantify. When a pilot catapults into a pitch black night over the churning Pacific, it is the pinnacle of the human spirit. But courage has a predator, and that predator remains undefeated. The second law of
a display of complex choreography.
When the fuel gauge hits
the J-20s
bingo,
execute
when the
maneuvers
nearest deck
vital
is
to
400
fifth-generation
miles of dark water
warfare.
away, willpower does not generate lead.
顺向前方拍摄高度
Determination does not generate
112F 状
thrust.
态正常。
Only GP5 jet fuel saves your life. For the last 30 years, we have operated on a strategic error. We have relied on the bravery of our pilots to compensate for a deficit in our physics. We demanded they fly harder, push further, and risk more to bridge the gap. But the era of compensating with guts is over because the map has changed. Look at the Pacific Theater, not as a politician but as an engineer. This is a geometry problem. We possess the Gerald R. Ford-class carrier's $13 billion of American steel. We operate the F-35C, the most advanced stealth fighter in history. But in a peer-level conflict, we are trapped in a geometric prison. The enemy's anti-ship ballistic missile, the DF-21 and DF-26, create a kill zone that extends more than 1,000 nautical miles from their coast. Meanwhile, our primary strike assets, the F-35C, has a combat radius of roughly 600 nautical miles. Do the math, that is a 400-mile gap of dead water. To land a punch, our heavyweight boxer, the carrier, must step inside the reach of an opponent with much longer arms. That isn't bravery, that is a suicide pact. We refuse to accept the math of retreat. We refuse to ask for one-way missions. Instead, we change the geometry. Enter the MQ-25 Stingray. It has no cockpit, it has no ego, it has no desire for a medal. It was not built to be a Top Gun. It was built for one specific industrial purpose, to turn a short arm into a long arm. It is the cold, calculated engineering answer to the survival of the fleet. To solve a problem of this magnitude, you have to look at the ground
package is
beneath
integrated
the tire.
seamlessly.
On
Confirmed.
land,
We have full
logistics
data
is a
link on the
science
ingress.
of infinite space.
Target
On
confirmation
the
is still
carrier
pending
deck,
from
logistics
AWACS.
is a violent art form constrained by 4.5 acres of moving steel. The US Air Force operates in luxury flying from 10,000 feet concrete runway. They have the space for massive flying gas stations like the KC-135 Stratotanker. These aircraft use a flying boom, fast, stable and high pressure. It is the gold standard, but the Navy does not have concrete. We have steel. And on a carrier deck, space is the most expensive real estate on the planet. You cannot park a Boeing 767 on the deck of a carrier. So the Navy improvised. For 20 years we have used a band-aid solution body tanking. We take an F/A-18 Super Hornet, a supersonic apex predator designed to pull 9Gs and kill enemies, and we hang 5 massive fuel tanks on it. We degrade a strike fighter into a subsonic pack mule. This is a thermodynamic waste. Right now, 20% to 30% of all Super Hornet sorties are flown just to pass gas to other planes. We are burning thousands of dollars of fuel just to carry fuel. The parasitic drag is enormous. The engine efficiency is terrible. But the money isn't the primary casualty, the metal is. Every time a Hornet launches, in that heavy 5-watt configuration, the catapult shot sends a shockwave of stress through the airframe. Every time it slams back onto the deck, the arresting gear tears at the landing strap. We are inducing metal fatigue at an accelerated rate, burning through the life of our primary fighters
Stealth mode
before they
active.
ever see combat. This is a vampire economy. We are cannibalizing our own fleet to sustain operations. The MQ-25. Stingray was born to stop this bleeding. Its mission is not just to extend range, its mission is to buy back the soul of the carrier air wing. It exists to take the burden off the humans so the fighters can return to being lethal. Boeing had to solve an engineering paradox. How do you build a tanker efficient enough to loiter for hours, but stealthy enough to survive the
What if
front
we
line?
integrate the
The
control
answer
surface
starts
here
with the
instead?
heart.
It
The
simplifies the
MQ-25
mechanism.
is powered by the Rolls-Royce AE3007N turbofan. Why an engine from a regional jet? Because of risk management. Developing a new military engine takes a decade and billions of dollars. The Navy went to the commercial shelf. This engine is a high bypass masterpiece. Unlike a fighter engine that sucks fuel to create raw supersonic thrust, a high bypass engine moves massive volumes of air at subsonic speed. It is thermodynamically optimized for loitering. A Super Hornet burns fuel just to stay airborne. The MQ-25 sips it. But the real genius is commonality. This is the same engine core used on the MQ-4C Triton. In military engineering, commonality is key. It means shared parts, shared mechanics, and a unified supply chain. We aren't reinventing the wheel, we are standardizing the kill chain. Now look at the skin, specifically the intake. On the back of the aircraft you see a flush inlet sitting flat against the fuselage. This isn't an aesthetic choice, it's a survival choice. A traditional intake is a giant radar reflector allowing waves to bounce
Applying the
off
mastic
the compressor
now.
blade
Start the heat
like
cycle
a
and
mirror.
make sure it cures
By
evenly.
burying the inlet on top, Boeing hides the engine from ground-based radar. But from a fluid dynamics perspective, flush inlets are a nightmare. The air flowing over the fuselage is turbulent, dirty air. Engines hate turbulence. It causes stalls. Boeing had to engineer a way to suck in clean air while keeping the profile flat, solving a fluid dynamics problem that has baffled engineers for decades. Then there is the exhaust. It features an inset nozzle burying the heat source deep within the tail structure. It mixes hot
symbol of
exhaust
national
with cool
pride,
ambient
this
air
patch is worn
before
by
it ever
those who
leaves the
fly the
craft to
Gripen,
defeat infrared
representing Sweden's
search
commitment
systems.
to defense.
Critics point to the refueling pod under the wing and say the stealth is broken. They are missing the point. Stealth is a spectrum. The MQ-25 isn't a B-2 Spirit designed to fly over a capital city. It is low observable, stealthy enough to survive on the edge of the battle space where a massive tanker would be vaporized instantly. It is a calculated trade-off between invisibility and utility. Most people think this is just a flying tank. Look closer under the nose. That turret is the Raytheon RX-52 multispectral
This infrared
targeting
view
system,
highlights the critical
same
role
eyes
of the
used
thermal
on the
management system in
MQ-9
maintaining
Reaper.
structural
Because in the
integrity.
Navy, every asset must be a sensor. When the Stingray isn't pumping gas, it is watching. It provides intelligence and surveillance, tracking surface ships and spotting transport. It turns a dumb logistics truck into a smart node in the network. It pays for its own existence by being the eyes of the fleet when the radar planes are elsewhere. The most revolutionary piece of engineering on this machine isn't in the sky. It is on the wrist of a 20-year-old sailor. Welcome to the carrier flight deck. It is 140 decibels of pure unadulterated chaos. It is the most dangerous 4.5 acres on the planet. For decades we have moved aircraft using hand signals. The yellow shirts waving their arms, the pilots interpreting the commands. But hand signals are analog, they are subjective. In the fog of war or the spray of a storm, they are a single point of failure. The MQ-25 deletes the pilot from the cockpit, but it keeps the human in the loop through the deck control device, DCD. It is a display strapped to the sailor's arm and a joystick on the belt. The operator walks right next to the drone. This isn't about gaming culture, it is about survival ergonomics. In an environment where voice communication is impossible, the DCD provides deterministic digital control. The operator inputs a command, turn left, stop, and the machine responds with absolute precision. We have converted the movement of aircraft from a guessing game into a digital process. And once it launches, the robot relies on JPALS, the Joint Precision Approach and Landing System. Using differential GPS, the drone talks to the carrier. It knows exactly where the deck is down to the centimeter. Even as the ship pitches and rolls in heavy seas, the drone runs the calculus. If the math doesn't line up, the robot waves itself off. There is no pilot to let ego or fatigue override the safety margins. In logistics, predictability is safety. Now let's put this machine in the fight, because a machine is useless unless it fits into the kill chain. The MQ-25 solves the tactical problems that have haunted the Navy for a generation. Let's look at the math again. Critics say the Stingray's 15,000-pound fuel capacity isn't enough to fill an F-35C. They are failing basic arithmetic. The MQ-25 is not a gas station. It is a range extender. Think of the physics of a deep strike. To hit a target, an F-35C launches heavy full bombs, full missiles. The energy required to lift that weight and climb to altitude burns through 30% of its fuel in the first 20 minutes. By the time the fighter reaches the edge of the battle space, it is already thinking about the journey home. This is where the Stingray changes the calculus. The drone launches first and loiters at the 500-mile mark. The F-35
The projected
meets it
flyaway
there,
cost
taking
remains
on
firm
a
at
top-off
85
of
million.
5,000 pounds
This
of
gives the
fuel.
Gripen a
Now
decisive
the
edge
fighter
in the
is full again,
cost-effectiveness
but
priority
it is
matrix
starting
shown
its
below.
mission 500 miles closer to the enemy. We have mathematically shifted the launch point of the carrier without moving the $13 billion ship into the missile's reach. We pushed the carrier back into the safety zone and pushed the fighter into the enemy's throat. But the F-35 is not the only beneficiary. The most important plane on the deck is the E-2D Hawkeye, the flying radar, the quarterback. If the Hawkeye goes down, the fleet is blind. And in modern warfare, blindness is death. The Hawkeye is a turboprop. It is incredibly sensitive to wake turbulence. Trying to refuel a Hawkeye behind a screaming Super Hornet is a nightmare of dirty air. The MQ-25, with its long high aspect ratio wing, creates a cleaner wake. It is aerodynamically stable. This allows the E-2D to stay airborne for 8 or 9 hours instead of 4.
Strike
It doubles the
confirmed.
persistence
Good
of
effect
the
on
fleet's
target.
eye. It ensures the eye of God never blinks. In a contested environment, radio waves are suicidal. If a pilot asks for gas over the radio, the enemy triangulates their position instantly. The MQ-25 operates on a silent network using low probability of intercept LPR waveform. It doesn't shout, it whispers in directed energy. The drone receives the digital request, calculates the intercept vector and drops the drogue in silence. This is stealth logistics. Finally, look at the future of the airframe. Those two hard points under the wings currently carry refueling pods. But in engineering, a hard point is payload agnostic. Imagine a scenario where we don't need gas, we need kinetics. In future Block 2 upgrades, the Navy has the potential to swap the fuel pod for long-range anti-ship missiles. The gas station evolves into a stealth sniper. This is the ultimate lethality roadmap. No pilot is put at risk,
dawn, the
but the reach of the
F-35
carrier
stands
remains
ready.
absolute.
It is the
The
new
geometric
standard,
prison is
wielding
broken.
information
We didn't
as its
invent a new
primary
physics
weapon.
engine, we hacked the geometry. We turned our biggest disadvantage, distance, into a manageable variable. The future is already on the deck. Initial operating capability is set for 2026. By the 2030s, the Stingray will be integrated into every carrier air wing. For our adversaries, the window of opportunity to keep American power at bay just closed. Beyond the data, there is a deeper philosophy. In a world of hypersonics and lasers, the MQ-25 is quiet and boring. It is the blue-collar worker of the sky. But ask any pilot in the air who is the most
Against the
important
stark
person
light
in
of
the
the
fight
Arctic,
is
the
the one who brings
F-22
the gas.
stands as
The
the
Stingray
ultimate
is a
apex
robot,
predator,
yes, but
a
it is
symbol of
programmed
pure
with a very
dominance.
human promise.
With
We
its
will wait
advanced
for
sensor
you. We
fusion,
will be
the
there in the dark.
F-35
We will
achieves
get you
total
home.
battle space
That is not
awareness,
just
integrating
logistics,
data
that
from
is
across
loyalty.
the connected network.
The enemy can copy our shapes, but they cannot manufacture the resolve to turn a cold machine into a lifeline.